What if I told you that everything you think you know about the Matrix Trilogy is wrong? What if I told you that the studio didn't want the Wachowskis to direct their own script? What if I told you that Keanu Reeves was not the filmmaker's first choice to play Neo? What if I told you that the story doesn't end with the Matrix Revolutions? And what if I told you that producers are already planning for a Matrix 4?
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible.
Hey folks, and welcome to The Binger. In this video, we're going to look at 10 things that even the most plugged-in fans of the franchise don't know about the Matrix Trilogy. The story starts with two self-described schmoes from Chicago, the Wachowski siblings. In 1990, they would write their first screenplay, Carnivore. Although Carnivore was never produced, the script got the siblings on the Hollywood radar as top-flight screenwriters. The pair would also go on to write Assassins, the story of two hired guns out to eliminate each other. Their success gave them the confidence to turn their most audacious ideas into the script for The Matrix. The good news? The Matrix earned high praise for its originality. Sequels were faltering, said then Warner Bros. Executive Lorenzo di Bonaventura. We knew we needed to do something different. The bad news? The scope of the story made it too risky to shoot. Nobody understood it, said the producer. They would go, "How does this work? I'm sitting in a room, but I'm actually living in a machine? What are we doing?" While the Wachowskis showed their skills as screenwriters, their reputation in the director's chair had yet to be established. In 1996, the pair made their directorial debut with Bound, a tense psychological thriller starring Jennifer Tilly and Gina Gershon. The film premiered at the Venice Film Festival and earned solid reviews.
You were nothing before you met me.
The siblings also established a working relationship with actor Joe Pantoliano, who would go on to play Cypher.
I don't believe it.
They would also shoot Bound with cinematographer Bill Pope, who would work on all three Matrix films. The low-budget film made a small profit, bringing in $7 million at the box office against a budget of $6 million. The siblings translated their experience in writing for comic books to turn their script into an illustrated magnum opus. They reached out to comic book artists Steve Skroce and Jeff Darrow to create shot-for-shot storyboards of their vision. The storyboards included more than 600 shots, ranging from the iconic kung fu training session to the hyperkinetic Sentinel chase scene. One of the most remarkable aspects of The Matrix and its sequels is the eye-popping visual effects. The Wachowskis primarily used practical effects to achieve these breathtaking shots. The directors achieved the effect of the fighter's superhuman powers by wire work instead of computer graphics. The filmmakers also insisted on using the actual actors rather than stunt performers. The fight scenes were choreographed by Yuen Ping, who would go on to craft fight scenes for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and the Kill Bill duology. The actors trained for several months with Yuen and sustained all types of injuries to accomplish the intricate choreography.
You very rarely get an opportunity to do something like this. I mean, I feel incredibly blessed to have worked with Wu Ping and his team.
Man versus machine. The glossy computer-generated illusion versus the grim and gritty real world. The entire fabric of The Matrix involves an exploration of duality. What better way to explore duality than to use twins? In the first Matrix film, the Wachowskis crafted a scene to show Neo the insidious nature of the machine-made prison. The scene shows Neo distracted by a beautiful woman in a red dress. What Neo fails to notice is that the crowd that passes by him consists of several pairs of lookalikes. The filmmakers came up with a unique way to get around the monetary and technological constraints involved in this crowd scene. While today's directors would use CGI to give the scene a copy-and-paste feel to the crowd, the Wachowskis took the old-fashioned route. They put out a casting call for twins. Lots and lots of twins. Twins also played a huge part, or two, in the sequel, The Matrix Reloaded. Actors Neil and Adam Raymond played the twins, a pair of albino assassins sent by the Merovingian to eliminate Neo. One of the most memorable sequences in the entire series was the scene in which Neo dodges bullets. The Wachowskis wanted to combine the impact of comic book panels with the movement found in film. Enter visual effects designer John Gaeta. Gaeta achieved the so-called bullet time effect by using over 100 still cameras set up in a half circle. Each camera took a photo one after the other in microsecond increments. The images would run together on film to create the stunning 3D-like effect. The technique would allow the directors to capture the image of Neo bending over backwards as the bullets rippled through the air like pebbles in a pond. The largest audience for any TV show that year got to see the bullet time effect for the first time. The use of practical effects such as bullet time earned Gata an Academy Award in 2000 for Best Visual Effects.
Bullet time is something that was conceived for The Matrix specifically. It's the byproduct of the directors observing technology, and then they ask the right question at the right time.
The film would earn 3 more Oscars that night: Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Design, and Best Film Editing. Another memorable aspect of The Matrix was how each character had a distinctive costume. Neo's trench coat, Trinity's black PVC outfit, and Morpheus's stylish suits gave the film the futuristic look the Wachowskis wanted. While these costumes may have looked like they jumped off the Paris runway and onto the silver screen, they didn't come with the Parisian price tags. Costume designer Kim Barrett took up the challenge of designing these unique costumes while also making them practical for stunt and wire work. In an interview with the Matrix fan site, Barrett described how she found the fabrics for the film's legendary costumes on a limited budget. Neo's coat wasn't actually a very expensive fabric. It was a wool blend I got in New York for like $3 a yard. For Trinity, we used quite cheap PVC. We were on a much tighter budget. Legend has it that when Warner Bros. Greenlit production on The Matrix, they only allowed for a budget of $10 million. The story goes that the directors plowed all of that money into the eye-popping opening sequence in which Trinity fights off police. When the studio executives saw what they were getting for their money, they approved a budget of $60 million. Although that makes for a great story, it's not entirely a true one. For one thing, the film was already in production with some scenes, including the opening scene, already shot. However, some studio heads were less than pleased about the time and expense involved in this grand undertaking. They were worried that the film would go past its schedule and over budget. They were also concerned that such avant-garde ideas and innovative effects would go over the heads of audiences, leaving them with a big box office bomb. The Wachowskis addressed these concerns by editing the opening scene, adding effects, and screening it for the studio. When they saw the filmmakers' vision on the screen, their concerns disappeared. While the Wachowskis got their full budget on time for production, a purse that size always comes with strings attached. The studio proposed that principal photography take place in Sydney, Australia rather than Los Angeles. At the time, it was less expensive to move the production halfway around the world and shoot the film down under than it was to make the film in Hollywood.
Sydney's a beautiful town, I gotta tell you, I've never seen nothing quite like it.
The film took advantage of the many futuristic-looking skyscrapers that dominated the city's central business district. The famous woman in the red dress scene was shot at a fountain near the corner of Martin Place and Pitt Street. The steak dinner scene between Cypher and Agent Smith occurred at a revolving restaurant in a downtown office tower. The Colonial State Bank Center at 52 Martin Place served as the headquarters for the agents as they interrogated Morpheus. The Fox studio at Moore Park, Lang Road, served as the sound stages for many of the film's interior scenes. The climactic fight between Neo and Agent Smith was shot at an abandoned underground train station near the city's center. If you were to sum up the story of The Matrix, it would involve a young man with extraordinary powers tasked with fighting a dark conspiracy. If you were to sum up the story of 1998's Dark City, it would involve a young man with extraordinary powers tasked with fighting a dark conspiracy. If you've seen both films and experienced a sense of déjà vu, that wasn't a glitch in The Matrix.
Déjà vu.
The similarities between the films don't end with their themes. Dark City was shot at the same studios in Sydney that the Wachowskis would use for The Matrix. With both films having similar themes and with the studio's budget concerns, the filmmakers did some recycling to cut costs. Many of the sets from Dark City found a new life during the filming of The Matrix. There's the stairwell where the SWAT team pursues Neo and friends. Then there's the rooftop where Trinity leaps from one building to another. There's the white marble hall where Neo meets Morpheus. In 1998, nearly every Hollywood leading man was in contention for the role of Neo. Young superstar Leonardo DiCaprio, fresh off his star-making role in Titanic, was up for the part. Veterans such as Tom Cruise and Johnny Depp were also considered for the role. Both Nicolas Cage and Will Smith were offered the role, but both turned it down. Smith cited his scheduling conflict with his new project Wild Wild West, while Cage would go on to do 8mm and Bringing Out the Dead the following year. The Wachowskis wanted Depp, but the studio was looking at Keanu Reeves for the part. After the success of Speed, Reeves was coming off such clunkers as Feeling Minnesota and The Devil's Advocate. The directors didn't have much faith in Reeves at the time, but they bowed to the studio's pressure to cast him as their leading man. The move worked out for everyone involved as it gave Reeves the role of a lifetime. So, what do you think? Are there any other glitches in the Matrix that we might have missed? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to The Binger to get notified about our latest videos. Thanks for watching.